Welcome back to Brute Mode EX, the mod that makes Plants vs Zombies much more difficult. In this series, we attempt to beat the hardest levels in PvZ history, and you are currently watching part 12 of the series. In the last video we beat many extremely difficult levels, and I strongly recommend you watch the previous parts first, as most things are changed from the original game in Brute Mode EX. In this video, we attempt to finish off the minigame page and the level page's minigames. Today's minigames are all ones that are deemed to be some of the most difficult in Brute Mode EX. Invisible is a very difficult minigame because of the changes to the plants we can use. We only have pea shooters, lily pads, jalapenos, ice shrooms, walnuts, and tall nuts. We no longer have kernel pole, so our only attacking plant is pea shooter, which slides across the lawn. This means we have no permanent defense available. With invisible zombies, we don't ever know if there's a torchlight zombie coming from behind. I can only see from my pea shooter what the zombie at the front of the horde is. I will have no information to know whether there's a torchlight coming up from behind, so your plants might suddenly get trampled. With invisible torchlight zombies in play, remember our walnuts and tall nuts? Yeah, we can plant it down and they could get instantly crushed without any way of knowing that will happen. That's why it is best to plant an ice shroom first for information. The first wave has 4 basic equivalent, so it could be 4 basics, 1 cone head, and 2 basics, 2 cone heads, or 1 bucket head. You can tell apart the cone head zombies visually because torchlight zombies move faster and ice trail zombies make ice trails. But the main problem is the bucket head zombie. Obviously, a singular zombie on the first wave could indicate a bucket head zombie, but it's not possible to tell the difference between a grave head and a target zombie. They make the same noises, so we won't know what will happen until the very moment they die, and we might have a bungee ambush or a random gravestone. That brings me to the topic of target zombies. They're the most stupid zombie this level. You know a bungee ambush spawns as the audio is there, but with no info where the zombies land. Dealing with target zombies is horrible since football zombies can easily break through your weak defenses, and screen door zombies are also just not unbeatable with pea shooters. It could also spawn torchlights in the middle of the lawn, or any threatening zombie that just makes it impossible to win. It makes the most sense to just restart if you hear a bungee ambush. And if you remember about sliding pea shooters, they fall right into the water if they're not supported by a lily pad underneath them in the pool. This makes the level even more challenging when pea shooters don't survive for very long to kill basically anything in the pool lanes. It doesn't seem all that great that in this level, you literally have no clue if you might lose all in an instant to whatever the game decides to throw at you at any given point. By the time you see a random lily pad in the pool lane getting crushed, it's already too late, and you need to somehow deal with that torchlight zombie that's going full speed right at you. You need to use a jalapeno to kill that single zombie, or a tall nut and a lily pad to get the on-death squash attack in the water. Both are very expensive, and that's why the most logically correct thing to do in this situation is just restart the level and play over in hopes of not screwing up against an invisible torchlight. And if you try to use ice shroom to stall for time against torchlight zombies that are about to use a pool cleaner, these attempts are futile. It won't work, and you'll most probably lose the game anyways if you spend so many resources on just a single torchlight zombie. On my third attempt, I realized that I can just do tall nut against an ice trail zombie, and you do know that it does an ice shroom on death if it dies from being eaten. So, in another way, on top of dealing damage to zombies that eat it, we can also rely on it being extra information of the position of zombies in this level. Tall nuts are one of the most valuable plants in this level, from its very versatile functionality from a squash to a stalling plant to also an extra ice shroom, which is great. However, there's a much bigger problem. If we use tall nuts on the ground, this means we don't have them in the water, and this level has dolphin rider zombies, so it's not actually that useful once I realize we kind of need to save them for the water. Otherwise, it's impossible to defend dolphin riders, since of course, pea shooters and walnuts are not going to counter dolphin riders, and jalapenos would not be very efficient to defend the whole level. So it is actually very important to keep your tall nuts in the water to defend against dolphin rider zombies, or else we have no ways to deal with them. Only problem being that tall nut is the rarest plant to appear in the conveyor belt this level. Even after I figured I needed them in the water, I ended up only getting one, so I still lost to dolphin riders. And the other problem with tall nuts in the water is, what if your tall nuts get eaten by zombies naturally or get trampled by torchlights anyways? Well, too bad, you still lose to dolphin riders when it happens, since dolphin riders in Brute Mode EX change lanes once, meaning you need 2 tall nuts to block them completely. Unfortunately, there's just not a whole lot you can do if the game just throws too many torchlight zombies at you. You just have to restart the level. And if your tall nuts don't get completely trampled by torchlight zombies, then good luck not dying to jack-in-the-box zombies instead. These guys can still blow up the tall nuts from the side instead of directly killing it, and it can still kill those tall nuts and let the dolphin riders sneak right through. Once again, I try to play the level again, and it's just absolutely brutal if there are too many torchlight zombies in this level. no chance to beat all of these torch lines crushing my plants. So, to make my attempts take less time when we're not going to win, I'm now also just restarting the level if I don't have 2 tall nuts in the water for the first flag. Finally, after many restarts of combining the strategies mentioned above, by restarting once we don't have 2 tall nuts in the water or cure our target zombie, we have our 20th attempt here. This attempt got us the win in Invisible quite handily. First of which, the key is how lucky you get before the first flag hits. Pretty much defending early on is not going to be that difficult with ice shrooms, jalapenos, and pea shooters. The most important thing to win is having enough tall nuts plus lily pads stocked in our conveyor to replace any destroyed tall nuts. We always need to keep the tall nut alive since it's our only defense in the water, and once we lose it, we are pretty much screwed against Dolphin Rider zombies. The next thing that you'll need to happen is a hyper efficient defense for the middle section. Pea shooters plus walnuts serve as a great combo against any non-trampling zombies. Ice cream to see where the zombies are plus jalapeno allows us to precisely kill as many zombies as possible with a single jalapeno to maximize efficiency. All you need to win is just surviving until the last few waves of the level. In the last few waves, we can sacrifice all our lawnmowers and pool cleaners, and since there is an extended time before the final wave comes, we can stock up during that time. With zombies only coming in a few rows, because of the lawnmowers only being just activated, this means we only need a jalapeno or 2 to beat everything else crammed into 1 row. And there we go! The strategy is just relatively simple, but with an incredibly high difficulty since we need to get so many tall nuts early on to be able to replenish them on demand later. I thought Big Trouble Little Zombie was a completely impossible minigame, and it is certainly quite the challenge when there's literally peas all over the screen. This was an extremely tough level to tackle. It took me 6 hours of total gameplay to beat this, and I actually did it off stream in my little bits of spare time. This is another conveyor belt level, and they added pea shooter zombies, catapults, and Gigorgoriantors. Zombies are still small and faster with less health. Unfortunately, because the plants are still the same, our only attacking plant this level is also pea shooter. This pattern is not so great. The thing that I learned to get over with is understanding that this level is just RNG cancer. Sometimes you just get a few walnuts in a row and end up dying to a torchlight zombie. Things like this just happen due to the inherent nature of this level being a conveyor belt level, making it rather frustrating. But it's not like getting frustrated will allow us to win. Therefore, we just have to keep trying and strategizing with better ways to mitigate that RNG cancer in this level and beat it reasonably. The early game before the second flag is fairly reasonable without much hassle to beat, primarily because pea shooters will just clear out an entire row by themselves. Zombies are also not that dangerous early on, and pea shooters plus cherry bombs will deal with them just fine then. However, the problem arises after the first flag. Snorkel zombies start to come, and spamming cherry bombs just does not win when there are snorkel zombies that spawn ambushes. Killing them with a cherry bomb just meant we had to plant another one down anyways to deal with the zombies after the fact. That just causes a loop effect for the whole duration of the level, making it stupidly hard. Once you blow up the ambush from the last snorkel zombie, another ambush is set to spawn. I also tried clogging my own conveyor belt with lily pads and walnuts so I can only get cherry bombs and pea shooters from the conveyor belt to maximize my damage output. That ended up not working since just pea shooters and cherry bombs don't do enough damage to kill off all the zombies that come. The next problem is that the amount of zombies after the second flag becomes so dense, cherry bombs no longer live to explode. What do I mean? Well, take a look at this. I didn't even know this was possible, but because there were so many Zombotany peas hitting the cherry bomb, it can't even implode since it died before it got to explode. Considering how many zombies there were this level, it doesn't seem even feasible to kill all the zombies with cherry bombs and pea shooters by looking at how many gargantuars there are. The way you actually win is you just need to keep lawnmowers until the second flag. Usually, if you lose a few lawnmowers, the same amount of zombies just spawns in other rows. If you use all of them at once, it will force the game to spawn less zombies as forgiveness. This simple exploit reduces the amount of zombies after the second flag to an amount that we can actually beat. It sounds easy to pull off, but it is very difficult to keep all 6 lawnmowers intact. The only attempt I managed to keep all 6 lawnmowers by the second flag was the winning attempt, so I'm going to suggest you to just restart when you can't get all 6 lawnmowers standing. I go into losing a bunch more times because of how brutal the level is. Snorkel zombies are the absolute bane to keeping all 6 lawnmowers intact with their stupidly difficult ambushes. The sheer amount of zombies that appear is just absolutely unbeatable, and it looks like we're just going to need infinite cherry bombs to kill all the zombies. How do you beat this level? Well, it's called a whole lot of luck and not much more, to be fair and honest. You really just need snorkel zombies to not spawn too often. Then, if there are less snorkel zombies, we can just use pea shooters and walnuts in the water to kill everything in the water. That is why later on I use pea shooters in the water instead, which is counterintuitive since we know pea shooters just spawn into the water if unsupported by lily pads. But it's more worth it to not spend 2 cherry bombs and instead do the single pea shooter and take some damage on a walnut. Pea shooters will kill everything after the snorkel zombie dies, at least the zombies in whatever row you planted that pea shooter. There we have it, that's the 6 lawnmowers all standing by the second flag attempt right there. Now, we just need to use the walnuts or stall for a few more waves. When you see that clearly stalling with walnuts will no longer work because of a torchlight zombie, stop planting everything. Don't try to defend the other rows, it's important all the lawnmowers go at once. And after that, you can see that the amount of zombies is drastically reduced and is now at an amount that we can actually feasibly beat with pea shooters. This works mostly thanks to the reduced wave separation in this level, allowing a used lawnmower to cheat and kick out lots of waves of zombies since it is time dependent. And obviously, you don't need lawnmowers to beat the final wave because no more zombies come after that, so you can't get obliterated by the swarm of pea shooter zombies. With that said and done, that's this horrible level finished. Bungee Bliss was actually surprisingly easier than I thought to beat. It only took me a few attempts to beat it after I came up with a good strategy. Here's the way I did it. The early game is pretty simple. You just plant choppers at the 4th column and pumpkins to protect them. But more importantly, when you see a gravehead zombie, you have to plant a flower pot in front of your chopper to keep them away from the 5th column so you can plant there later. If there's the torchlight zombie that comes and your chopper is still digesting, or a pole vaulter jumps over your chopper, that's perfectly fine for us to use a cherry bomb. One very important thing to do is to stall out the time before the first flag hits. Stock up 4 flower pots in your conveyor belt, so the chance that pots appear in the conveyor belt decreases. This increases our chance of getting chopper in the conveyor belt, and this lets us plant extra choppers in the 1st and 2nd column. This is the difference maker that makes this level beatable by simply getting a bunch of backup choppers for the later part of this level. After which, throughout the level, you need to be aware of where torchlight zombies may come. If you see one coming and your choppers are digesting, dig up the chopper and plant a new one, or just dig up the chopper and plant a cherry bomb. It's very important you do not let the zombies pass the 4th column so you have sufficient space in the future, and that you keep the graveheads as far away as possible. Throughout the level, you just need to keep an eye out for when you need to dig up your chopper in the 4th column and replant another chopper or a cherry bomb. Against catapults, you just let them fire down a pumpkin until they run out of basketballs, and you can kill them later with a chopper when they roll forward. Be aware that you never want to have more than 8 plants sitting in your conveyor belt, since the game will then start to slow down the rate it gives you plants from the conveyor belt. Towards the end of the level, I'm going to expect that you probably will screw up a bit and let slip a gravehead zombie or several torchlight zombies. This is why we needed to plant those choppers in the 1st and 2nd column, to be able to deal with these zombies once we reach this point of the level. Once they infiltrate, you need to stall out the level to extend the game until the final wave to use the roof cleaners. You cannot use them before the final wave because of the grave spawns. On the final wave, dig up all your plants to prevent choppers or football zombies switching lanes. Then, use choppers to clean up the remaining zombies from target zombies. Easy win! So, we have one minigame left. It's Can You Dig It? Unfortunately for now, I do not believe that it is beatable in a meaningful manner. Can You Dig It has the exact same plants, zombies, and gimmick as the vanilla version of it. You start with a full line of walnuts and you only get pea shooters from the conveyor belt. The level has 3 flags and there are only basic zombies and conehead zombies. However, because it is the exact same, it did not account for the change to pea shooter. The problem here is instead of the level being just walnuts digging up and then pea shooters planting, this level's walnuts are practically irrelevant when torchlight zombies exist. That is a huge problem considering all you get are pea shooters, and obviously spamming pea shooters as 10 zombies piled up isn't going to do much if you can't stall them. It's just a matter of whether, say, are there too many torchlight zombies spawning? If yes, you lose the game, because your pea shooters can't keep up. That's pretty much it. So yeah, unless I decided to save scum and try to get perfect RNG every wave to ensure that 0 torchlight zombies come during the entire level, and so we can use our walnuts to stall, this level is completely unbeatable simply said because our firepower is not good enough. I would say getting perfect RNG by save scumming is basically cheating like in a TAS run, so technically, is it possible to beat? Yes, but is it realistic that we could ever beat it? No. Am I going to keep trying to beat the level at this point in time? No, because every time I play this level, I've died on the exact same wave number anyways, so I don't think any progress is being made by replaying the level. We have reached the end of this video. We have completed all but one level in Bruno Mode EX's incredibly hard collection of minigames, and so the series has come to an end. The next video will be a tier list about the Bruno Mode EX plants, and after that, we will be starting on a new PvZ1 mod. even more difficult than Bruno Mode EX. If you made it this far into the video, I'm sure you enjoyed watching it for sure, so why not subscribe if you haven't already and like the video. Thanks everyone for watching, and I will see you guys next time with more Bruno Mode EX.